Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are you looking for the best way to promote your podcast? It's easy. Just advertise your podcast to your ideal target audience. That's right, listeners of similar podcasts. Podbean has the best and most cost-effective options for you. Just go to the website sponsorship.podbean.com/STR. That's right, your friends here at Scout Team Radio are hooking you up. Go to sponsorship.podbean.com/STR and you will get the best deals to get your podcast rolling. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Scout Team Radio.
Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah. Good morning and welcome back. You're listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every weekday morning, 6 a.m. on 12-ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yep, maybe all of that is true, maybe it isn't. I don't care. Chris America is the man on the other microphone, and I like to give him the greatest patriotic entrance of all time. It's your boy Chris America coming to you live and hot on this beautiful AM. All right, Chris America, sometimes he's got his morning poo and he runs a little bit late, so we'll go ahead.
No. I hit the damn mic button. I know I did. I hit the mic button, and then I went to Twitter, and then I checked out NBA scores, and then I did everything else. I hit it. This one's on the studio.
All right, blame the studio. Yep, the studio, sometimes it comes crashing down around us. And this morning, I would like to introduce our great patriot again. Welcome aboard, Chris America.
Thank you, sir. It's April 3rd, Wednesday. We're hot and live on 12-ounce Sports Radio.
If
or
you
can
guys
catch us on the Barn Burner Network.
Go ahead, Chris America. I was just going to say, we're really off this morning. And you know why we're off? Because yesterday is a day that will live in infamy. It was the day that it was announced.
Oh, yes.
The AAF suspended operations, and you and I were off.
To say goodbye.
It's so hard.
To yesterday.
I need something to wipe my tears away because we were invested so heavily into this beautiful league. Our local team, we're based out of the Central Florida area in Orlando. Here in Orlando, our team, the Apollos, with the legendary ball coach, Steve Spurrier.
We were able to cover them for 2 games.
We did. We had really great coverage. The one where we had an encounter with Bill Polian, which was a little unsavory, but still, this was our team. We were covering them for the press. We were enjoying the good games. That was
the beginning of the end. When Bill Polian kicked the scout team out of the press box.
Well, now we know why he was so ornery, because things were already kind of starting to fall into the crapper at that point, weren't they, for the AAF?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we mentioned how they had the same crappy food, the same crappy press food that they had for us when we were in the press box. Bill Polian took over the press box for his family, and they gave him the same crappy media food. That's when you should have known times are bad, when an executive is in town and you're giving him stale burgers.
Yeah, it was like hamburgers and hot dogs.
And chili dogs.
I don't know if you remember doing this. This is what I would do in college. You go up to the Walmart or whatever, and they would have that box of like 24 hamburger patties. They were called the Flanders patties for like $4.99.
Uh-huh.
And you'd be like, all right, everybody come over to my house. We're having a big cookout. I'm buying burgers. And those things were like hockey pucks. And you're like, dude, I'm a college kid, man. You guys got to suck this up. So we would drown it with ketchup and mustard just so you couldn't taste the hockey puck itself. And that's how you enjoy a
kill
hamburger.
You'd kill your taste buds with some Natty Lights
Yep. And
or
that's
some Ice House.
yeah, yeah. With full keg of Ice House, man. That was the cheapest keg you could buy. They're like,
Yeah,
okay, it's going to be like
you could buy those
90
Flanders
for
in
Bud
that
Light.
keg for like $10.
Oh yeah, dude, killing it. But that's what the AAF did for Bill Polian. That was the spread. It was like going back and reminiscing to my college days, living it up with hockey puck hamburgers and cheap beer. That was the spread that Bill Polian got. So you knew at that point, when we saw that, you and I both had the look on our eyes like, something ain't right here.
Maybe that's why he was so mad, is because he knows that we know what the food spread was. And he's like, crap, they're going to get it out, and they're going to know that this thing is failing.
Yeah, he didn't want anybody to witness the bad downfall of what his beautiful league, his vision had started to come down to.
I mean, if you remember, they didn't even put the bottled water in the fridge for him so he could have cold bottled water.
No, it was just out on the counter. Like, here, you get warm water,
You get
sir.
lukewarm water, sir. Room
You're an
temperature
executive
for you.
of our league. You get lukewarm water.
I mean, maybe he likes it that way. Maybe that's his preference, like his green M&Ms, but I don't know, man. I don't know many people that like lukewarm water.
No, yeah, very few. Now, this hurts my heart a little bit because I did enjoy a little extra football. I think that there has got to be a way that there can be an additional football league. But now we've seen the XFL fail. We've seen arena football fail. We've seen the Alliance fail. Is it just destiny that we're not going to be able to see another football league? Or will some of these other ones that are coming up, like next year's XFL or whatever that Freedom Football League that T.O. is invested in, are we going to see somebody finally figure this thing out?
I don't know, man. I think in order to create a football league that's going to be worthwhile, you got to have a ton of capital. And then the problem is you're going to invest all this money, and then it's going to take you a really long time to recoup that money. So some of the reports coming out early was that Tom Dundon lost $70 million on this venture. Now, that number seems a little high to me for someone who's only been involved for, 3 weeks now? 4 weeks, maybe?
Yeah, that's it.
God, so you're looking at nearly $20 million a week you put money into. Like, where is this money going? Because I didn't see advertising, pick up. I didn't see cheaper ticket prices to help get more people in the stands or any sort of, I didn't see where that $70 million went.
Some of the theories that I've seen behind this, and I don't know if they're founded or not, but one of the reasons why he invested into this league was primarily because of the gambling app. Apparently there is some cutting-edge gambling app that's being developed that they're kind of waiting for the legalization of this sports gambling to kind of happen, because it is inevitable that eventually we're going to loosen up on these gambling laws. But this app is really what drew Tom Dundon to this team. And I don't know how this whole thing's shaken out, but if he bought the entire football league just for that app, thinking that later on down the road he's going to make millions of dollars off the app, and he really didn't care about the football side of it at all, then obviously that's where the downfall came. Because from what I'm seeing is that Charlie Ebersol and our good friend Bill Polian, friend of the show, do not want this thing to fold. They were the founders. They were the visionaries. They were the guys that had got this off the ground. And when this league started, it was well advertised, well marketed, and it sounded like they were ready to go into the future, 3 years of commitment for this league. And then all of a sudden, we hear a story, okay, they're having financial problems. Let's inject some capital into this thing. Let's bring in Tom Dundon. And we realize that Tom Dundon did not have, he owns a hockey franchise. Did he have the intent of running a football league? No. Did he have the intent of it being successful? Apparently not. His intent was obviously something else. So it is weird that he's only been involved for a few weeks and then all of a sudden they're folding. So he came in, bought it, and it would make sense that this app is the only reason why he invested into this league.
Yeah, because when he started making demands to the NFLPA, if you don't send me your players, I'm going to suspend the AAF. And I thought that was just such a weird demand for somebody who has zero leverage where why would the NFLPA care? And he has to know the NFLPA doesn't care.
Oh yeah, I mean it seemed like one of those fake demands that it was so crazy, outlandish, unreasonable that you at that point you're like, this has gotten a little weird. Why is he having this crazy demand? When they have those hostage situations, let's say it's a bank robber or something, they're like, I need 18,000 pounds of gumballs, and you're like,
and I need
why
it
are you
in
asking
20
for
minutes.
18? Yeah, I need it in 20 minutes or else. And it's like, you want what? Like, we can't do that. Like, that's a physical impossibility from where I'm standing, sir. Like, how could you even request such a crazy demand? And that was Tom Dundon. He was on the rooftop saying, all right, NFLPA, you got to jump on. And oh, go ahead.
No, the timing of the request is odd, too. Like, your league is doing okay. It's chugging along. People are interested. People are talking about it. Finish out the season and then start asking yourself about the future. But then again, I guess if you're losing $70 million, if that's true, in 4 weeks, I guess another 4 weeks you tend to lose $140 million, so you want to stop the bleeding. But I don't know how getting NFLPA players to come join your league helps you at all, because it's not like you're going to get rookies out of the draft or anything like that. You're going to get these just more no-name scout team players.
I like scout teams.
I do like scout teams as well. But
there's no personal affiliation. I just like the scout team. It's weird.
But there's no difference between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers scout team quarterback and Garrett Gilbert in the minds of the people.
I agree with that.
So I don't know what the importance of it was.
So my question for you is, I know they're saying about the affiliation with the NFL, but I mean, these games were played on the NFL Network. There had to have been at least some support from the NFL, right? Am I looking at this the wrong way?
No, I mean, that's what we all thought. Maybe the NFL Network was just looking for content. They're like, hey, we could put football on there. There's a few of our guys like that people know and recognize. So we need something to put on the TV because we're the NFL Network, right? So we're either going to play replayed football games from last season. We could replay the Super Bowl, but that was really boring. And we can just have different shows where they just talk about the same off-season stuff ad nauseum. So if we can kill off like 3 hours of actual football, live football, let's do it.
No, I agree with that, but at the same time, I mean, they are pretty good about playing old football games all season long, so it's not like that bothered them that much. I feel like they were encouraging the AAF being successful, and then when Tom Dundon came in, he just became completely unreasonable.
Yeah. I don't know, like you said, it might have been just he wanted that app, but that's a really expensive app. I feel like he could have come in and just purchased the app from the league because the league is looking for capital and been done with it. Like, I don't think that app would have cost him $70 million if that's
I don't know.
truly
Apps
the
are
case.
expensive, man. Good apps, especially if it's an investment, that's where the world is going. We're all about apps. Everybody's on their phone 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a gambling app, he probably looks to recoup that $70 million and then some. So we'll see.
All right, so other information here on the Alliance, other than us being completely depressed that we are now no longer affiliates of the press here with the Orlando Apollos, and that is the fact that why would you not just finish the season out? Like, that to me, now it's like when Alf teased its last episode that they would be coming back, and then you're waiting for them to come back and it gets canceled. It's like, how do you do that in the 80s with the greatest TV show ever, and then also now again in the current age with the greatest football league ever? How do you do that?
It was Alf, and then it was My Name is Earl. My Name is Earl ended on a cliffhanger. Like, the season ended on a cliffhanger, and then the network canceled it in the off season. So we never found out what the cliffhanger was. And the AAF ending is the same way. Who would have won the championship? Would the 7-1 Orlando Apollos finish off the job, or would the Arizona Hotshots come back into the championship game and shock them again?
Well, obviously the Orlando Apollos were going to win it all. I mean,
Right.
there was no doubt in my mind that they weren't the best team and they wouldn't have won that championship. But we will never know. And, we've basically now have taken the AAF and made it like college football where we take a committee and we could just say,
Yeah.
all right, you 13 guys, pick who you think's the best team. You've seen a part of a season. We don't need to have any real championship or real tournament. We'll just go ahead and crown them. So I'll be part of that 13-man committee, and I'm going to go ahead and say, Orlando Apollos, congratulations. You are the AAF champions. Crown them.
Yes, sir. Crown them. Put them on. Hang the banner.
This whole thing is
I
depressing
feel like
to me, man.
I feel like UCF should, though. They should put like a little, I don't know where they should put it, but there should be like a little sign, Orlando Apollos 2019. Just so, we can kind of remember like a little memoriam, Maybe they can grow a tree and put the Orlando Apollos logo on a plaque and put that next to the tree. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, that would absolutely be cool, man. Let's do it. Now I'm going to move on. Are you good?
Well,
I do want to
talk about one more thing.
Okay.
And it's the most sad part of the story, and that's all those people that you'll see at all the team offices and wherever the main office is for the AAF, that they were going to their cars with that stereotypical cardboard box with the plant sticking out and the staplers and all the other items, and just all those front office people, those people who do the media and get together like this and that, and the equipment managers and all those people surrounding the team that support a football team. Those people are the ones I hurt for because they weren't getting paid $83,000. They were probably getting $40,000 maybe, I don't know, but they were just average Joes. They found a job a year ago. They were excited about it, and now they're back on the unemployment line today, and that sucks.
I actually feel bad for the players and that personnel. I mean, I get that the players had their contracts, but the contract now is going to be null and void because it's all done, right? Like it's over. So the players didn't even get a full season worth of paychecks, so they're not getting that full amount. And this was a chance for these guys to show what they were able to do and maybe get that chance at the next level. So I feel bad for those guys, not necessarily like the quarterback for the Apollos, Gilbert, right? Like, I don't feel bad for him because I think that he's going to get an opportunity. It's that, like, next-level guy, the offensive lineman, the second-string cornerback that's just fighting for that opportunity to make a practice squad in the NFL. Those guys are the ones that I feel bad for. And then I also, like you said, you got to feel bad for all of the employees in this league. Now, there's an inherent risk when you sign up to do something like this. When it's a startup company, it's no different than any other company in the world. You sign on, you see a guy and you see his vision and you believe in it and you say, all right, I'm jumping on board. This is a startup. Let's see where we can take this thing. And a lot of startups fail. A lot of them fail. So we're looking at some of these people who have worked really hard to get this league off the ground, and now they go back to the drawing board, and it's not like there's other just great opportunities like this that pop up every day. So a lot of people were living out their dream of working in sports, and now we'll have to go back to, that mundane, everyday job that they probably don't want to go back to. And you know what? We live those lives, but those guys, they had a dream. They had a dream to be a sports management and sports media and sports whatever, and all those dreams, unfortunately, may have died yesterday.
Well, I do have some silver lining to that, though, Loudbeard, and that is they grabbed experience that maybe they wouldn't have had this last year. So now they can go to the Magic, to the Orlando City Lions, to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Lightning, or they can go to the Milwaukee Bucks and say, hey, I have experience now. I did this, and that for their media team. So this is my experience. And now I'm not just some college kid out of college, or I'm not just some guy chasing a dream. I know what to do. Here's the lessons I learned from working for the Apollos, and yada yada yada. So
I like that yada 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 part at the end, because I think I always throw in
a yada 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 during interviews and on it's even on my resume. It's even on my resume.
Absolutely. Right. I'm telling you right there that is probably the most solid part of the entire resume. Now you said that person
You got to put in 3 yadas. I've actually been in interviews where they're like, "Oh my God, he's got 3 Yadas. Normally we only see 2."
Yeah. Are you sure they didn't say Miata? I know you drive a nice Miata.
I mean, I do have a
so,
Miata collection. Yes.
Yeah, you have 3 of them. Miata,
Yes.
Miata.
That's
That's what I put on my resume.
Different
says,
colors. Miata.
It says interests, and then on the side it says Miata collector. Mhm.
Yeah, I have different colors so I can have matching outfits with them.
Yeah, well, you have a red, a white, and a blue one because you're Chris America.
Chris America.
All right, you said that these people are getting experience in the sporting world, and they could go work for the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, there's a young man, he's 24 years old, working for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he got some really great praise. NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal comes out and says that Giannis at age 24 is better than what he was at age 24. So with that comment being said, I need to ask you a simple question that isn't always so simple. But right now, the MVP race has come down, and I feel like it's been Giannis's MVP all season long. But there's a lot of people out there making a big argument for James Harden. So I'm going to do a little comparison here for you, and I want to get your take on who you would vote for as MVP of this NBA season. So I did a stat-by-stat comparison. So James Harden this season is averaging 36.4 points, and Giannis only averaging 27.4 points. So James Harden with a pretty significant advantage on points. Now rebounds, opposite. Giannis 12.5, James Harden 6.5. Assists, Harden with the advantage, 7.5 up against 6. Giannis, again, not the advantage on steals. Harden with 2.1 per game, Giannis with 1.3. But Giannis has the big advantage in blocks, 1.5 to 0.8. So we're going back and forth. Well, yada for a yada, where Harden's got more points, Giannis more rebounds. Harden more assists, Giannis more blocks. Harden more steals. These guys, when you look at it, they're both really outstanding players. But do you think Giannis has done enough to be MVP over James Harden?
No, I still got to go Harden, man.
Yeah.
I like Harden's hustle. I like the way he plays the game. He's got, 6 or 7 games over 50 points. He had that long stretch of 31, 32 games over 30 points. He's just been playing lights out. He's doing it against the West, which I guess some could argue they play up-tempo basketball in the West, so it's more conducive to scoring a lot of points and getting a lot of assists. But I don't know, man. A lot of people like to use the argument of if you take this man off of the team, how does the team fare? But I feel like you can say that about most any player in the NBA. Like, if you take Dwight Howard off of the Orlando Magic, they become a lottery team for the next 7 years. That doesn't mean Dwight Howard should be MVP. I got to go Harden, edge. Harden, edge. Harden gets the edge.
Yeah, and I'm one of those guys, and this is a terrible way to look at the MVP, and I know that a lot of people that like the NBA do the same thing, is when a guy's already won it, you kind of lessen his value a little bit because it's always nice to see somebody new win it. I feel like LeBron James got that treatment after he had won a couple consecutive MVPs. It was like, okay, who's the next guy? LeBron, we know you're good. Who's that next guy? Is it Kevin Durant? Is it Steph Curry? Who is it that we're going to vote? So in the last few years, we saw Russell Westbrook. We saw James Harden. So this year, Giannis comes out, and he breaks out on the scene. And we knew he was good, but he is like MVP caliber good, right? So now all of a sudden the Milwaukee Bucks are leading the East, and Giannis is looking like a superstar. But I feel like we've elevated him up to a higher level than James Harden in a lot of these conversations just because it's the next new guy. Whereas when you look at it, the nuts and bolts of it, James Harden is so valuable to that team as the MVP. I would have to agree with you, Chris America. To me right now, it's James Harden's to lose. And Giannis, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being second in voting on MVP. If he comes up second, there's nothing wrong with that. That's saying you're the second best player in the league this season, in my opinion. And Giannis, hey, there's nothing wrong with being second best. But there's another guy out there that's looking pretty good. He will not fall get the votes like a Giannis or Harden. But Westbrook, man, Westbrook's second half of the season, after having kind of a poor shooting first half of the season, he's really stepped up his game in the second part. So to me, Westbrook could be in that conversation just as much as Giannis, just as much as a guy like Paul George. But to me, Giannis and Harden are the clear-cut 1 and 2.
Do you think as long as the Warriors stay together, none of those guys will ever even come close to winning an MVP?
Yeah, you spread the wealth too much, right? Because there's 2 top 5 guys in Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, you have now all of a sudden taken away that force. It's not a complimentary guy. It's not anything like that. It is 2 major forces, and because of that, it's taken away a little bit of the value of each of them. So yeah, Kevin Durant will be in that conversation. He might be the 5th highest vote getter or the 6th highest vote getter when it comes to the MVP voting. But he's not going to be number 1 when he's on the same team as Steph Curry. It has to be a Batman and Robin. It can't be 2 Batmans. That's just how it works. I'm sorry.
And your Batman can't be as strong if your Robin is almost as strong as you.
Yeah.
Because
Robin needs to be weak. We need weak Robin.
We do. Because look, both Kevin Durant and Steph Curry are former MVPs. Steph Curry won it unanimously. But yeah, they take away from each other. And because we rely so heavily on stats to give out the MVP, it's just going to be impossible for Steph Curry to get the numbers that he had when it was just him and Klay Thompson, or for Kevin Durant to get the numbers that he had without a full lineup of all-stars.
And I almost think that for Paul George and Russell Westbrook, it's the same conversation. You've got 2 guys that are massive superstars, but they are complementary on the court. But when you look at how those stats get kind of divvied up a little bit, you're going to sit there and say, well, both of them are MVPs. They could survive without, if one of them got hurt, the other one would step up. So are they the most valuable player in the entire league? Well, maybe not, because they've got another guy that can carry them. Same thing with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. Where with James Harden, yeah, Chris Paul is there, yeah, Clint Capella is there. But if James Harden gets hurt, that team isn't going anywhere. If Chris Paul or Clint Capella gets hurt, which they often do, that team is still very successful because James Harden will go out there, put it on his back, and throw out 50 points like it's nothing. So Harden is that guy. Same thing with Milwaukee. Chris Middleton, great player. Brook Lopez, really kind of a resurgent year for him. But without Giannis, that team doesn't go. So yeah, Harden and Giannis are the 1 and 2 MVPs in my opinion. And I was hoping that you would go Giannis. I felt like you were, and so I was sitting there thinking, man, I can argue with Chris America about this. But I'm not going to do a fake argument with you.
That's why I thought you were going to go Giannis.
No. I'm a Harden guy. The beard. I mean, still a little bitter about that whole beard bet thing I did with him last year. He owes me one from that one.
You know what?
But
I changed my mind. I'm going Giannis because this is America and I can do whatever I want. I'm free. Yeah, you're wrong, Loudbeard. You're so stupid.
This is sports talk radio. We need to fake debate. We need to come up and manufacture arguments so that everybody can listen.
I can't believe you picked James Harden. He's never won a championship.
You like the Greek freak. 7. You're not even American. He's from Greece. How dare that's blasphemy, Chris America. Okay, that was Embrace Debate brought to you by Scout Team Radio. No return jinx.
Oh, there's a return jinx now?
No. I talked about Westbrook a little bit. So last night he had a pretty historic night, and he became the second player ever to record a 20-20-20 game, as he had 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 21 assists. The last time such a feat was accomplished on the court, Wilt Chamberlain did it back on February 2nd, 1968. So Westbrook helps his Thunder beat the Lakers 119-103. Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Yeah, I think Westbrook should get more credit for the amount of rebounds he has. Getting 20 rebounds as a guard is ridiculous. It shows that he has a lot of hustle, that he chases after the ball, that he gets down in the paint and dukes it out with the bigger guys. And I hate that he doesn't get enough credit for all the rebounds he gets. Everybody gives him crap for padding his stats and getting those triple doubles, and it's not that big of a deal. Like Dwight Howard getting a triple double wasn't a big deal, but a guy like Russell Westbrook, that is a big deal because you don't normally get 20 rebounds as a guard.
No, it's pretty amazing. This guy is uber athletic, which helps him out because he can out jump and he's got so much quickness. He does all that.
And he comes in from like beyond the arc and sneaks into the post where the center isn't able to box him out because he doesn't know that he's coming.
Right, yeah. So he's got such a unique aspect to his game with the rebounds. But I also think that the assists need to be something that people talk about because he's been thought of as being a selfish player, especially when it was those Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook days. It was like, Russell Westbrook takes too many shots. He should be deferring to Kevin Durant more. I mean, this is a guy that regularly gets double-digit assists. He is helping his team. So he is not just a selfish guard, where a guy like John Wall, to me, in my opinion, is a guy that's a selfish guard. I think Kyrie can be that way sometimes. Where we look at Westbrook is always averaging, well, not always, but the last 3 seasons has been averaging double-digit assists. That means he is deferring to his teammates. He is creating shots. He is not as selfish as a player as people have made him out to be in the past. And when you get 21 assists, look, all 3 of these numbers are good. The 20 points is the least impressive out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
But 20 rebounds as a guard and then 21 assists, I mean, those numbers are absolutely phenomenal. Like, this is a historic achievement. And
for sure.
And this is the 3rd season in a row that he is looking to average a triple-double. When we made such a big deal about it season 1 and he got the MVP and Oscar Robertson, the Big O, was the only one to ever do it. He has done it. This will be the 3rd season in a row if he finishes out the way he's playing now. 3rd season in a row averaging a triple-double. Again, it's something we don't talk about because he's done it year after year. We almost expect it. But some of these things that he's doing, it's insane. Insanity, my friend.
Well, you're talking about insanity. You're talking about doing something historical. In baseball, somebody was on a historical feat, and then his manager did something that was insane. Find out next.
Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back, and thank you all for listening in. Once again, we are Scout Team Radio. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard. We bring it to you hot each and every morning. We do the show at 6 a.m. It comes on 12-ounce Sports Radio. You can also catch the replay at 11. We record each episode, drop it as a podcast. That podcast goes to our partner podcast network, Barnburner. You can check Barnburner out at barnburner.ca. That's right, .ca. They're in Canada. Our good friends up there in Toronto at Barnburner doing some good things up there. We also put that podcast on our website, scoutteamradio.com. Check out our website. A lot of great features over there. And you can always check it out at all those major podcast areas, right? You go to Apple Podcasts, you go to Spotify Podcasts. Anywhere you find a podcast, you find us. Just search Scout Team Radio. Check out all of that. We'd love for you to do that. Hit up our old episodes. If you want to go back and listen to our first episode, you can do that. There's a lot of bad noise, bad volume, bad sound, bad takes, bad everything. But we're proud of that because that's how you learn. You learn by being bad. And Chris America, you talked about some Major League Baseball. I've got a lot of Major League Baseball news, but this little tease that you had, I need you to come through with it, man. You can't just tease me like that. But before I let you go to the Major League Baseball talk, I do have to say, you can hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio, and Ian from Rehab Sports at Ian_Rehab Sports hit us up on Twitter this morning and said the only way another league survives is if there is a minor league NFL that teams are affiliated with. I agree with that, Ian. We do need the NFL to step up and make a minor league system, but they're too fat and happy to do anything like that, so it'll never happen. So, Chris America, fulfill your tease, my friend.
All right, my man. Well, we missed this story yesterday, but sometimes we miss stories because we only have an hour to do it. Other reasons is because if something happens the night before, we get up early. We try to catch up on all of the news from the night prior, but there's so much going on. It's hard to get it all in. But on Monday night in Toronto, the Baltimore Orioles were playing the Blue Jays. And David Hess, pitcher David Hess, was in the middle of a no-hitter. It was a 6 1/3 inning going out there. And all of a sudden, Brandon Hyde comes out. And David thinks, like, okay, we're going to go over what the strategy is with this next batter, what we want to pitch, what the kind of things. And Brandon Hyde's like, no, dog. You're at 82 pitches. I'm pulling you. And like David Hess was beside himself. Like, wait, I'm in the middle of a no-hitter, and you're gonna pull me? And after the game, Hyde said that pulling Hess was the right thing to do for his health and the ball club, and that to extend him way past where he should finish, in my opinion, wasn't smart. Loudbeard, is this a thinker or a stinker?
I'm gonna give this a stinker. I guess I'm going to give it on two different fronts. Front number one, David Hess. You're sitting there, and it's your career, and you're throwing a no-hitter, and you're still dealing heat. I'd be one of those dudes that probably would get traded after this game because I would sit there on the mound and say, I'm not coming out. You need to go back and sit your ass back down. And if you don't go sit your ass back down, you can trade me, you can cut me. I don't care what you do.
You're
I'm throwing my no-hitter.
me.
This is my moment.
Right,
and
you're going to have to drag me off of this mound.
Exactly. Like, I get we're professionals. I get we're making good money. I get that you're the manager, the GM, the coach, the whatever you want to call yourself. But I don't give a you-know-what because I am going to sit here and I'm going to finish this game. So, David Hess, for you being a consummate professional and handling it with dignity, I give you you're a stinker just for doing that. And I'm giving this a stinker for the coach, Brandon Hyde, right, is the coach there of the Orioles. I give him a stinker for being the one that goes out there and pulls them. Whether somebody told him to or he made that decision on his own, if it was the pitching coach or whatever this was, I believe the pitch count at that time was only like 82 pitches. You're not even at that high of a pitch count. Like, you right now are thinking inside the box. Like, you have this cookie cutter design when you go out there to manage your team. You're saying, okay, at this moment, I'm going to pull this pitcher because I think he'll get tired. So maybe around the 6th or 7th inning mark, we'll go ahead and pull him. And he stuck with that game plan. Good managers, good coaches, they change their game plan as the game goes on. If you see how this guy is dealing and it doesn't look like he's struggling and he still has a no-hitter, then yes, you leave him in, you change your game plan, and you make it work. And the Orioles right now are one of the hottest teams in the league, and I cannot believe I just said that. And I don't know what they were thinking by pulling this guy. So I give a stinker to all parties involved. Stink, 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 stink. I'm pointing at all of them right now through the microphone. I'm pointing. Stink, you stink, you stink. Everybody stinks.
This is the most passionate stinker you've ever handed out.
You know what? I'm telling you. I guess maybe I'm old because I like it when you look back at some of these old-timey players. I think of the NBA. Michael Jordan would always play all 82 games. He didn't want to sit out. Like, you had to carry him off the court. Same thing in baseball. Like, they're like, oh, we're worried about these guys getting too many injuries. Well, because you baby them all the way up through, now all of a sudden they're getting more injuries. Tommy John surgery is like an everyday occurrence. It seems like you're getting news, oh, this pitcher's going out. It's week 1 of the Major League season, and we've already got a guy that's gone out on Tommy John surgery. I don't understand the thought process. Like, the guy is dealing great. Just let him finish his game. Who cares about the pitch count at that point? You've got an entire season to limit his pitch count. We're in week 1. Like, grow a pair. Let's man up. Let's put some hair on our chests and go out there and play some real ball. I think that was a garbage decision. I lost respect for the Orioles after all that.
And then he had the audacity to say maybe he'll get in a situation later on this summer of getting a no-hitter. No, like, I understand no-hitters. They happen from time to time. They're not as rare as a perfect game, but they're still so rare for you to say, oh, he's going to have another opportunity in the summer. It's almost like I told Steph Curry to not shoot any threes today because he'll have an opportunity to shoot threes tomorrow or later on. No, it's not like that at all. Like, when you're in this situation, I'm with you, man. You stand your ground. You say, I'm not going anywhere. You better call security. You better do something because I'm not coming off of this mound. I'm good. My arm feels good. We're up 6-1. And after they pulled him, they only won the game 6-5. Like, their bullpen wasn't good enough to slow down Toronto. And maybe it wasn't 6-1 because it was a no-hitter. I don't know, but they were up big, and they ended up winning 6-5, and it almost cost them the game pulling him out.
Well, you know my feelings on it. That's stinking all around over there in Baltimore.
Yeah, we're both in agreement there. No debate there.
So there was a big baseball story last night that I want to move on to. But before I do that, I do want to give one other pitcher some serious props. To me, this is how pitchers should operate. Zach Greinke with the Diamondbacks last night has 2 home runs and strikes out 10 batters. Like, this, the one-man wrecking crew. Why can't more pitchers do this? A pitcher getting 2 home runs in the same game and being up on the mound, striking out 10. I don't even know what else to say to that. That, to me, is one of the best individual performances I've seen from a pitcher in a very long time.
Kudos to that. Oprah's solid to that guy.
Yeah, hashtag Oprah's solid to Greinke. They get the 8-5 win, Diamondbacks over the Padres, and that's the red-hot Padres with Machado and with Fernando Tatis Jr., who is possibly the early Rookie of the Year candidate that is going to be a hot name this entire season. So the big news yesterday is Bryce Harper is returning to the Washington Nationals, and he starts it all off with a very heartfelt Instagram post. I was going to read it, but it's like super long, and I don't even really want to get into all that jazz. But he comes out and he's like, okay, I know this is going to be tough, so let me pour my emotions out on Instagram, let everybody know how I feel. I'm just such a nice guy, even though I left this franchise in ruins because I decided to follow my nose and sniff out the money and go over to Philadelphia. So he's thinking, okay, I'm going to give this heartfelt Instagram post, and all my fans are going to love it. Everybody in Washington is going to really welcome me with a warm embrace. Do you think that happened?
No, and I think a writer also didn't help things by saying, if you're not going to boo Bryce Harper, then stay home.
I like that, though. I think that
Yeah.
helps. So he returns, and it's basically a sea of relentless boos, especially early in this game. And when he gets into that batter box for that first at-bat, it's like a deafening sound of boos. And you could just see that the fans were absolutely not having it from Bryce Harper. There was the guys that go out and they paint the word on their shirt, and you got the T and the whatever. And usually it's like something good because it's like, go team. Well, yesterday it was Trader. So in the outfield, you could see this big line of guys wearing shirts, and it said Trader. That was cool. You got to show them what you really feel.
Yep.
And then there was a lot of people with jerseys where they would like X out Harper or write something on it. So, they're showing their love that they don't love him anymore. But to me, the best shirt of the entire night, and this one to me stood out the most, and that was, there was a guy, he looked like he took a Sharpie on just a basic white T-shirt, and he just wrote, it looks like my elementary school daughter would have wrote it. It says, "I don't like Bryce Harper." And he wore that to the stadium. To me, that was the best shirt of the night because he told everybody how he really feels. And as all the fans in that stadium felt at that moment, they just really don't like Bryce Harper.
Now, Loudbeard, which fan are you? Are you boo the guy, or are you I get it guy?
No, I'm boo the guy. This is
Yeah.
an emotional thing. You were the face of this franchise. Like, you were the one guy. Fans loved this guy. And it was all about money or whatever. I don't know what his final decision was about. But the Nationals were aggressive trying to keep this guy. And again, he just kind of kept him at bay, waiting for something a little bit better. And he moved on. And yeah, it's definitely a situation where you got to be boo guy. You got to be boo guy. Now, the problem is Harper, he doesn't like this whole situation, so he doesn't go down too easily, does he? He's not going to just let this stand, him getting booed to death here at the stadium. So at his fifth at-bat, as the crowd was thinning, it was getting late in the game. It's a school night, so not everybody can stay all night. It's a work night, right? You can't stay all night. So the crowd was thinning. Things were just getting a little loosey-goosey. And all of a sudden, he steps up to bat for his fifth time after not faring super well the entire game, and he hits a 458-foot monster home run, and then he did what all big jerks do, the dreaded bat flip.
Oh, you can't do the bat flip. That is worse than calling somebody's mother a you-know-what. But, Loudbeard, you are the boo guy. Myself and Scott Kaiser chiming in on Twitter, we're both the we get it guys. And Scott Kaiser coming in, National fans showed they're absolutely petty. What did they want? Their owners lowballed him. He gave everything to the franchise all years he was there. What a bunch of babies. Not his fault they couldn't get over the hump. Should have cheered him for the good times. And Kaiser even admits, I'm as petty as they come, but do better. They lowballed him. And that's why I'm get it guy, because every single person booing, I don't know what the Nationals' final offer was, but if it was $30 million less, every single person in that stadium, if they had the choice between a $300 million contract and a $330 million contract, they'd all do the same thing.
Maybe it's me being a Nationals fan, but screw all of you guys. Mike Berlon's chiming in. Scotty Kaiser's chiming in. You're chiming in. Screw all you guys. Boo Bryce Harper. Screw his bat flip. Screw his beautiful hair that he swooshes over his beautiful head. Screw all of that.
But you know what? This is great for baseball, because what do we always complain about baseball? There's no good names, there's no good personalities, and what's really missing is a villain. as much as sports fans hate the villain, they kind of like the villain. They like there being a bad guy to root against, and maybe Harper can become that bad guy. And he started it with Mike Barlon recognizing it. The bat flip from Harper made him a fan. So disrespectful, but so great. I think that's him loving the villainy of what Bryce Harper was doing. The fans were booing in the Nationals, and Bryce Harper did the bat flip. Ugh, it is good stuff.
And you're right about the villain, and this has been my theory for a long time. Everybody says they love Batman, but nobody really loves Batman. They love the villains. It's the Joker. So Bryce Harper is now becoming the Joker of the league, where he's that villain that you love to hate and you love to love, and you love all of it because it's so entertaining. And that's what Bryce Harper has become.
And there's times where you're sometimes like, I kind of want to see the Joker win just to see where this goes.
Yeah, just give him a shot. Come on. It's the Joker. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's done some bad things.
He's made some good points, though, too, in his moral argument for why he's doing the things he does.
Yep. So you know what this means, though. After Bryce Harper with that big mega home run last night, he leads the Phillies to another win. Phillies are still undefeated, Chris America. Undefeated. No, not impressed, huh?
Who's undefeated? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. It's okay. I'll repeat that for you and for all of our listeners out there. The Philadelphia Phillies are still the only undefeated team in Major League Baseball. And I love it. I like that there's going to be an undefeated team because when I, again, run the sabermetrics, I run the advanced analytics, if a team is 4-0 right now, if they continue on this pace, they're obviously going to be 162-0 at this rate. Yeah, there's no way that they could lose at this point. So obviously the villain is going to win this one.
Villain's going to win. Philly's going to win. They're going to be climbing up the polls. They greased them up.
Now, Red Sox, I can't say the same for them. They have started out this season 1-5, and they're coming back after winning that World Series championship, and they are not looking so hot. Is there a real concern? We talked about it yesterday, but is there a real concern for the Boston fans that the Red Sox may just be down and out this season?
Oh, man. The sabermetric says they're going to go 1-61. They're 1-5. They're flailing. They're remember the jokes week 1 or game 1 opening day? Baltimore Orioles have been eliminated from the playoffs already, and they're 4-1, and the Red Sox are 1-5. They might come back. They might be that Houston Rockets team that struggles early but then climbs their way back into the standings. But we'll see, man. This is not a good start.
No, it's not looking good. And there's some surprising teams out there. I mean, Mariners are now sitting at 7-1. I did not see the Seattle Mariners starting out this hot. Now, the Phillies, I could have predicted that they were going to start out good. Now, 4-0, it's only 4 games. We got to, take that with the grain of salt. Now, the Angels are sitting at 1-5. With the Angels, when you drop a $400 million contract to the best player in Major League Baseball, don't you think you should maybe get a win or 2 out of that, or maybe 2 wins, but 1-5 start? It's going to be the same story with the Angels. Best player on a bad team. It's going to continue.
Yeah, man. Long season, though. Long season.
Well, I'm going to switch gears for you real quick. We got a few minutes left of the show, and I just wanted to say that the Score came out with an NFL power ranking, and it's never too early to do a power ranking. Power rankings really mean that we're getting excited about sports that are in their offseason. But the Browns were named as the number 9 team on this power ranking. Are we anointing the Browns as being a better team than we really should just because of these offseason acquisitions? I almost said accusations. Acquisitions.
No, I honestly think they should be a little bit higher. I kind of feel like 9's disrespectful to the moves they've made. I think we're hesitant to crown them because they're the Browns.
Yeah, I guess we look at the past performances and we need to kind of forget about past. It is about today and the future, and the Browns' future definitely looks bright. Now, Russell Wilson comes out and he is in the final year of a 4-year contract, and they've been working on an extension for him, but they haven't been able to reach exactly where he wants to be. So he's giving the Seattle Seahawks an April 15th deadline. Do you think the Seahawks get this deal done, or after seeing guys like Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor all leave, that maybe it's time for them to blow up and start over? And if a guy like John Gruden came knocking on the door with 2 first-round picks, could Russell Wilson either A, not get the contract, or B, get traded and not be part of the Seattle Seahawks' future?
I don't know how you can't get rid of Russell Wilson. That's your guy. He's your franchise quarterback. You got to blow it up somewhere else. I don't know, man. That would be a huge loss for them. They could be looking at becoming
whatever
the Arizona
he wants,
Cardinals.
you pay him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, just like the Nationals should have done with Bryce Harper.
Exactly.
All right, last thing I just want to bring up before we finish the show. The Cowboys do what I consider the most Cowboys thing in the world to do, and they did an extension for Randy Gregory. Now, if you remember correctly, Randy Gregory is the dude that got an indefinite suspension for, some drug use, some, illegal substances. So a guy that is on an indefinite suspension gets a contract extension through 2020 from the Dallas Cowboys. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's time to go, Loudbeard. It's 6:55. We'll find out what I think about it tomorrow.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
Freaking
man.
Cowboys.
Cowgirls.
I hate
That's
them.
a new one. Nobody's heard of that one before.
Oh, that was witty.
All right, make sure you guys tune in on Apple Podcasts. If you missed our show, please subscribe. Peace.